Speak to the horse and move quietly.
Hi, Aberjack. Come on, pony.
The horse should turn and face you in the stall.
Good boy.
Make sure the stall door is closed. To place the halter on the horse's head, approach the horse from the side and stand at the horse's shoulder. The door latch is pushed back and the door is completely open prior to leading the horse out. Hold the lead shank in 2 hands. The chain is drawn through the ring on the left side noseband attachment and placed over and under nose piece of halter so that the chain is not directly placed on the horse's skin. The chain is then run through the metal attachment hardware on the right side of the noseband and pulled gently up to the right side ring at the crown piece attachment.
When leading the horse, the safest place to be is right at their shoulder. That way you actually can even use your elbow if you have to help stop the horse or keep the horse off of you. You want to keep a fairly loose lead if you can, and as I said, be positioned. This is the safest place for your body position to be. You want to hold the lead shank in 2 hands so that you have some give if you need to let this hand go a bit. You want to be careful, what you want to be looking around as you're leading the horse to see if there's anything that could potentially scare the horse or spook it as you're approaching it so that you're prepared. You want to be careful of wrapping the lead shank around your hand. That is a situation where if the horse were to spook, your hand could get caught in the lead shank and you'd be dragged. You don't really want to hold the lead shank in 1 hand because, again, you don't have the give that you would if you have it in 2. You want to be careful that you don't have the lead shank around your neck because, again, it could potentially catch on your neck if the horse were to bolt. You want to be very careful that the horse is not positioned behind you when you're leading, because if the horse were to spook, it could actually run into you. And you want to be careful you're not too far behind the horse like this, as basically what the horse will do is just turn around in front of you if you do that. So those are some important safety tips as far as leading. What I'd like you to notice when you come into the stall with the horse is his whole attitude, his demeanor, whether the horse is bright-eyed and alert, or whether they are looking generally depressed. I want you to check for any scrapes or wounds that you might see on the horse, and that means you really have to check the entire horse. You know, like for Aberjack has some scrapes here. He has a scrape up here. So, and you really want to pay attention to the legs of the horse. You can either just, get into the habit of just, consciously looking at the legs. And you can also feel down the legs. You can see where the tendons are fairly defined on the horse's legs, and you can see the sort of the indentations where they're defined. And if the horse has a problem, very often those get filled with edema. And so if the horse that you're working in the stall with looks like he has a filled leg, that is something to really pay attention to. You want to pay attention that the horse has all their shoes. You can even pick up the leg if you're not sure and see that the horse has their shoes. So you really need to pay attention to all of that. You need to check the feed tub, make sure that the horse has been eating and not leaving the feed behind, because that can be an indication that they're not doing well. You need to check the automatic waterer, make sure that it's clean, make sure that it has water in it, and just generally, the whole time you're around the horse, observe the horse's behavior and make sure that things appear normal for the horse.
For the safety of the handler, the horse needs to be tied while the handler is working in the stall. Place the horse up against the stall wall and place the tie through the bottom ring of the halter so that the tie does not interfere with the horse's eye. A long cross tie may be used to tie the horse, but will need to be doubled over and hooked to itself for safety, so that the horse can't put its head to the ground and place a foot over the tie. Place the horse against the wall and move the horse to the opposite wall when needed. Pay attention to the horse and the location of your equipment. Clean around waterer and feed bucket area. Sift through the bedding to remove any manure and then remove surface bedding over the stall's wet area. Remove the soiled bedding in the wet area down to the clay floor. Clean out hay that is mixed in with bedding. Pay attention to the horse at all times. Do not have the horse between you and the door. Do not use a pitchfork under the horse's body or directly around the horse's legs. Do not leave equipment unattended in the horse's stall. Do not let the horse wander in the stall while you are working. Do not take your attention away from the horse. Do not place the horse between you and the door. Do not use the pitchfork under the horse or directly around the horse's legs. Do not leave equipment unattended in the horse's stall. Partially open the door and speak to the horse.
Good boy. Good boy.
Move the horse up against the far wall. The horse should be standing quietly and paying attention to you.
Good boy.
Shake out the hay without the horse directly standing over the hay, so that the horse is not inhaling dust.
Good boy.
Dampen the hay.
Good boy.
Leave the stall and close and latch the door.
A lot of the UNH horses wear boots and bell boots when they go outside or get turned out or even being ridden to protect their legs. So I'm just going to demonstrate putting those on the safe way. You can either have the horse tied in the stall on a set of cross ties in the main aisle or have a handler like I do today with Maggie to keep the horse still while you're working around his legs. What you want to do, you can either kneel down like I am. I like to be facing forward a bit for the horse's front legs. What you don't want to do ever is to just be sitting on the ground because you can't move out of the way quickly enough if the horse spooks. You may actually, if you're not so sure about how well behaved the horse is going to be, you can put these on standing so that you can get out of the way quickly if you need to. But again, they just Velcro together like so, and the tabs should be facing backwards. The bell boot simply goes around the top of the hoof like so, and again it's Velcro tabs that just stick together, and that will protect the horse from hopefully not pulling off their shoe, catching their shoe when they're out in the pasture. The hind boot is usually a bit larger. What I'm going to do is just walk toward the back of the horse, running my hand along her back and down her side so that she knows I'm there. And again, you want to make sure the horse is standing squarely on all 4 feet, especially the one that you're about to put the boot on. And if she's not, I'll probably just pull her over a bit with the tail to make her stand square. Then I can either, again, do this standing or kneeling if I trust the horse a bit more. The tabs again, facing toward the back, and I'm just going to keep my hand on her leg, put the boot on, make sure the tail hair isn't in the way, hold the boot together, and put the straps on. This might slip down a little bit. You want it so that it is fairly snug. You want it to cover from the base of the hock joint to the top of the fetlock joint. So this boot is a little bit short for her, but that is basically what you would do. Just stand up, give her a pat, and you're ready to go after you put the other 2 boots on.
Position your body at the horse's left shoulder. Carry the lead line with 2 hands. Allow some slack in the line. Mind your surroundings and keep your horse clear of potential hazards. Keep a horse-length distance between you and another horse. Lead the horse through the pasture gate and turn the horse to face the gate. The handler stays closest to the gate. Position all horses safely to allow for a quick getaway with no handlers in the way. Release the horses at the same time. All handlers must be aware and ready. Make sure the gate is closed over. Check the pasture or paddock for holes, unsafe materials, fence damage, and other hazards. Watch horses that are turned out for running or behavior that could injure them. Bring them in if you are concerned. Make sure the door and latch are completely open. Check and listen for lost or loose shoes. Lead the horse into the stall with the handler going into the stall first. Turn the horse around to face the door with the handler at the door. Release the horse with the handler backing out while closing and latching the door. The stall door was left completely open. The handler did not speak and approached the horse from behind. The handler positioned the horse between herself and the door. The handler stood directly in front of the horse while placing the halter on the horse. The handler dragged the horse out of the stall with the horse directly behind and the lead rope in one hand. The handler is not paying attention to surroundings. The horse in the stall will potentially be injured by a kick from the horse being handled. Do not lead the horse through narrow, tight, or otherwise confining spaces. The horse has no leeway if it becomes spooked and could run forward over the handler. Do not place the horse in touching or kicking distance of another horse. Do not hold the lead shank in one hand. Do not wrap lead shank around the neck or shoulders.